Hello, today I'm going to be introducing to you two-dimensional arrays, how they work, the whole idea of them, how to visualize them, how to print them, and ultimately how to access each one of the items inside of the two-dimensional arrays. Now previously to this, you should already understand how one-dimensional arrays work, which is simply a sort of list which has items throughout, and there's only one row, right? There's one row and indefinite amount of columns. The idea of a two-dimensional array is that there is two dimensions. You know how you think of, let's say, a graph. We have previously what we had is only, let's say, the x-axis. What we're introducing is a y-axis where we can have all the rows that we want. So we basically have arrays inside of arrays. This gives us two dimensions, and this gives us more capacity to store more table-like, let's say, just to make it more visually understanding, table-like arrays. To explain this, I have come up with a method. We're going to make a two-dimensional array that stores integer types. So we're going to say integer, which is a type. We're going to give this a name. This array a name, so let's say, just say for the sake of it, array. We're going to give it the two square brackets. Previously, for a one-dimensional array, you would give it 1, which this would be the index. You would only need one index. This time, since it's array inside of array, you need two indexes. Let's call it x and y. So the first index would be the row. You're going to understand this later on, but there's row and column. Row is left, column is right. So you have the two square brackets. You can say equals, and sorry, wrong one. There we go. That should. What mistake are you giving me here? Yeah, true. Now we have just declared basically an array, but since we are on a two-dimensional array, we're gonna put arrays inside of arrays. Kind of trippy stuff. So inside of this, we're going to put integer types as we have previously declared, which is a primitive type data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to close that off with a curly bracket, place a comma to make it visually appealing. I will put another space, make it as if it was a table. For the sake of simplicity, I will cut it off right here. The whole idea of this is that this bracket, this starting bracket right here, to this bracket right here, is the array, and inside of the array there's more arrays, right? So horizontally, these are rows. Vertically, the 5 and 5, that's a column. 4 and 6, 3, 7, 2, 8, 1, 9. Two axes, this same thing with the previously arrays. So the number 1 would be at index 0, 0. Number 2 would be 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4. And then for the 9, it should be 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, up to the 5. Now, to prove that this does actually work and I'm just not talking nonsense, I have developed a way to print out this information in a graph type. So how we are going to print it out, it should print it out basically in this same format right here. What we're going to do, like we had previously done with one-dimensional arrays, is use a for loop. Inside of that for loop, we're going to say integer I is equal to 0. We're going to start off with the counter being 0. We're going to say I is smaller than array.length. Now array.length should give us the amount of rows that there are. So in this case, it should give us 2, meaning this will actually run twice. I'm going to say I plus plus. Open up the for loop, and since this is two-dimensional arrays, right here we're going to be accessing each row at a time, but we do not want to access each row at a time. We want to access each item at a time. Inside of the row, inside of our rows, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 elements in each row. To access those, we have to find the length of each row and run through every single element in that row. So we're gonna use a nested for loop for that. Say int, to not confuse ourselves, I'll use the counter j equals 0. J has to be smaller. Then array at I dot length, meaning it's only going to run if j is smaller than this, meaning it should run 5 times. So what we have created here is basically in each at I, this should be the first time it runs, it should be 1. So array at 0, it should run this right here. And what we're gonna do is loop through every single item in this row, which is index 0. Here we're gonna have to add the counter j plus plus. Right, and we open up another set of brackets. And here's where we actually gonna do the printing. System.out.print. We're not gonna use print L because we want the all the elements. We're gonna be printing a row at a time. So this is gonna print it all in one row. And say array at I. That's row j. That should print out every single item. Now the problem with this is that we do not actually want the whole thing to print in one line. So what we're gonna do is go outside the first for loop, and in the second for loop, which is every single time that a row runs, we're just gonna print out an empty line. ln. I believe there is a set. Yeah. No, we're gonna put nothing in there. And if we do not want the actual numbers to be all crunched up, we can add in a little space right here in between each item in each row. Ideally, let's hope this does work. And there we go, that's perfect. So this should further help you understand how we index and how we access the two-dimensional arrays. Now, right here, I have created kind of a long and complex way of declaring 2D arrays. There are simpler ways. I'm going to show you a simpler way. This time, for the sake of variety, we will make a string type array. Now, if we want to declare it in a more simple way with not so many lines, just in one line, we can do this. String two-dimensional array is equal, we're going to give it a name first. Say array1 so we don't get it confused. String array1 is going to be a new type of string two-dimensional arrays, and this time instead of going through this whole process here of giving it each element, we're just going to say right here should be two rows, and columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this right here is going to be a two-dimensional array with 2 rows, 5 columns, ideally the same size as this right here. To test that out, we'll just sub in all of these, and here we go. Perfect, same thing. So as I said here, we're declaring 2 rows, 1 row, 2 rows, 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is how you access each index of the array, and how do you put items in the arrays. If you did want to, let's say, now put items inside of each, or strings inside of each one of these items, sections right here, you would just do the same thing, nested for loop right here. Instead of printing it out, you would actually just say array at 1, array 1 at I and j is equal to, so I'll actually show you how it's done. Array 1, let me delete this print, I don't know if it's going to give problems. Array 1 at I at j, so that's row and column is equal to S. Ideally, this should fill up every single item. Every single item in that array with S's. To prove that, I believe we could just copy this and do it again. For the sake of simplicity, I have already showed you how to. I will not do that.